basically, you need your canvas already prepped the color that you want. That is the first thing. The next thing we're gonna do is, all we're using is just black. We're using white. We're gonna be using these little trusty guys again, our Q-tips all bundled up. And this time, instead of only about, you know, 5 or 6, we're actually gonna go with about, I think I said about 10 or so is a good number. We're gonna use a couple of singles as well. And surprise, surprise, we're gonna use a paintbrush today. So I hope you guys have an old paintbrush, or not a paintbrush, a toothbrush ready in hand. Also, we are gonna be using our same trusty flat. This flat will always give you a nice straight line, okay? So you don't have to like finick with a fine point. These ones will suffice with the, make sure, and all I'm gonna use today is just dollar store paint. So we've got some white and some black. That's all we're gonna use. We're gonna give them a good shake up. And I don't like to usually put my paint out too soon because it is acrylic, and acrylic loves to dry up pretty quickly. So I'm gonna pour that out. You don't need a lot of black. And then you're gonna use some white as well. Lovely. Okay, so that's out and that's ready to go. For new people that are here, I am Christine. I am owner of CMBearArt on Instagram and Facebook. My website is www.cmbearart.com. You should go over and check out some of the work that I do. I have been doing this for about 15 years. I was in a car accident a long time ago, and it brought me to my faith in Jesus, and it also brought me, made me realize that, oh, I can actually paint, because I was a restorative hygienist before, and I would have not have even tried going down this road had I not been stuck on my butt for about like 2 months. I was in the hospital for 2 months, so, and I stuck on my butt for like 6 months. So this is a whole, you know, it was a whole new thing for me at one point. So it's my heart to always help people discover that creative bone that is in their body and help them realize that they can actually do this. This is something that if you break down the steps, it's not super complicated. You just got to know which thing to lay down first. So that's my heart for you guys. It's also my heart that during this crazy time of isolation that you guys have a healthy creative outlet. That's really important to me. So yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so we've got our canvas here. And what we're gonna do first is you grab your chalk. I got paint on me already because that's just the nature of me. So the first thing we're gonna do, I also posted on my Facebook page a worksheet. So if you guys do fall behind it all, which I highly doubt, you guys can easily just print it, or if you want to do this at a different time, you can print out the worksheet. It has all of the, I'll just show you right here. It has everything like step by step for you. Okay, so if you want to watch the video again, you can, but if you don't, then you have that instruction right there for you. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our mark. Okay, we want to figure out where we want to put our stems, because the first thing that we're going to do is that. So I want my stem to kind of go from here to here, just like you see one going from here to here, so sorry, from here to here, and then another one from here to here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little nick mark right here, because that's where I want approximately my stem to start going off the page there. And then I'm gonna put another one right about here, because that's where I want my stem to finish. Okay, and I'm gonna have another, because there's 2 of them, I'm gonna have another one right beside it. So, you know, just about that much. Depending on your worksheet, I worked really, really small so that I could give you guys that example, that you don't have to do this huge. You don't have to do it on a canvas. You can do it on paper. It's all up to you how you want this to turn out. So, and these smaller ones are a great way to practice as well. So before you hit the canvas. So, and then the next, so we've got one line here, one little nicky line there, another one down here, and then sort of like in the middle of your canvas, I would say in the middle, but up just maybe an inch. I want you to put another circle. So not quite the center, but just a little bit up from it. Okay, because that's where the center of our dandelion, our feature dandelion is gonna go. Okay, you guys all following along okay? Pretty self-explanatory up to this point. We're good. Give me some thumbs up. Good. Okay, so next we're gonna do is we're gonna take that dot that we made. I'm gonna move this over just a little bit. That dot that we made, and we're gonna attach this dot to this this little neckline. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna go up to our other one, and we're gonna attach this one to this one. And you want a little bow in it, just because dandelions are a bit top heavy, so they have that little bit of a droopiness to them, which is always very pretty. Okay, so there's that. Next thing we're gonna do is we are going to kind of give an idea of where our puffs are gonna go. So our little collection of wishes. So we're gonna go to that dot that we made just a little bit up from the center of our canvas, and we're gonna kind of just lightly sketch out a big circle around it. This circle does not have to be perfect. It is a generalization. I'm generally a very sketchy sketcher. Like I've got like 1,000 lines where I want to be, so you don't have to worry about that. That's what mine kind of ends up looking like. Okay. Next thing we're gonna do is we're going to make, this puff ball is gonna go off the page a little bit, right? So you can imagine that this kind of goes off the canvas like this, right? So our dot is actually for this one, the center of it is right about here. So if we were gonna draw a circle, it's gonna be here, right? So that's the idea, is you only wanna put a portion of this one right there. And what I didn't actually put in the instructions, because I didn't add it till later, but I will add it in the video now, is we actually have another puff ball, little top of the dandelion over here. So the same sort of idea. You're not really you're not making a whole circle on a page, you're just gonna take a quarter of a circle, and you're just gonna outline where that is right there. And you got a good portion of this done. Surprisingly. There's not a whole, I think you're about 1/3 of the way done this painting, which is awesome. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we are going to grab our black paint. So give me some thumbs up to make sure that I'm glad you're liking the worksheet. It is there to help you print it out, you know, share it with everybody. You know, I make it, but I don't want to own it. So like, I just want to give you guys lots and lots and lots of material that you guys can just be creative with. So enjoy. We're gonna grab our black paint next, and make sure, let me know that you guys are following along, because if you guys need me to slow down my pace, then I will do so a little bit. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our black, and we don't need any water at this point. We're gonna use that dry brushing technique that I taught you last time, which is no water, just paint, okay? And now my paint is a bit of a soft body, so which means it's a little bit more fluidy. So if you've got a heavy body paint, you might want to add a little bit of water to it to kind of make it a little bit more fluidy. Okay, lots of thumbs up, yes. Okay, now we're gonna go to that little dot, and we're gonna draw a line from this dot all the way down. So we're gonna basically trace over our stems now, right? Yes. Oh, no, one more thing. Don't go yet. I almost forgot. One more chalky line. Well, a couple more chalky lines. So we're gonna if you've done the black, not to worry, you can easily do this now. So you're gonna put down your black paintbrush, pick up your chalk, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to make the center stems of the dandelion. So we're gonna, again, these ones are gonna have a little bit of a bow to them. We're just gonna divide our circle, right, into a few spots. They don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfectly numbered. I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this one. When you go over to this one over here, it is off the page of the circle, remember? So we're pretending that it's there. We're gonna pretend that it's there and draw from that point, right? So again, these don't have to be perfect. These are just a guideline. And then this one over here, we're not really gonna do anything with. We're just gonna leave that as it is. Yeah, we don't need to add anything to that. Now you can grab your black paint. So here we are, we got our black paint. It is the dry brushing technique, and we're gonna do that stem, okay? So we're gonna start where the dot is, and we're not gonna fill in the dot. We're just gonna use the dot as the beginning point, and we're gonna pull this down. Pick up some more paint, pull it all the way down, using the very, very tip of your flat paintbrush. Don't push down, you're not gonna get a fine line if you do that. You're just gonna keep it light, and you're gonna pull it down like that. Lovely. Don't worry about the chalk. Again, once your painting's done and dry, you can just take a wet, damp cloth and you can just dust off any chalk that might be remaining. Although I don't really think you're gonna see much by the time you're done. I don't think you're gonna mind it at all either. It might even add to your painting. We're gonna go to the next stem, do the same thing. Light pressure all the way down. I use that fulcrum finger, that dental hygienist fulcrum finger, you know, something to basically give me, make me steady while I am. So I've got one finger steady on the canvas, dragging down. That's how I keep my hand nice and still and not kind of going all over the place. Back to my dental hygiene days. That was 15 years ago. Amazing. Amazing how much can happen in 15 years, guys. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to those fine lines coming from the center. So we're gonna create those right now. I'm not fulcruming only because I've got a bunch of paint right here. Coming from the center and bowing out to this line here. We are not going to be drawing on that outer line. That's just a gauge. Yeah, see, I went right off my line there. Don't worry about it. It is just a gauge. We're gonna go up here, same thing. There we go. How you guys doing? Clean off your black paintbrush. Awesome. Okay, next step. Are we ready? Are we all on the same page? See Amy making a little comment there. She's a former to me dental hygienist. I'm not sure. Are you still the hygienist? Slow down, please. No problem. We are at the halfway mark right now, guys. Now this next part, almost, we're gonna want to make our white paint a little more wet. So we're gonna dip our toothbrush into the white paint and just kind of on our palette, just make almost like a slurry, a real kind of thin, watery version of that. Okay. And on this part, you guys are most likely doing everything on a table, I'm gonna guess, unless some of you are on a canvas. If you're working in the upright position like I am, I'm gonna ask you to grab your canvas, okay? Because this kind of thing, we're going to be taking our finger and we're gonna be getting dirty. So what we're gonna do is we are going to take our finger and brush it along, but we're gonna point it at our canvas. And we are gonna make lots of wonderful splatters. They don't have to be perfect. I've even got a blob on there, and that's all you're gonna do. The great thing about the blobs is that you can easily just pick up a tissue. I'm gonna use my apron because I use it for everything. And you can also blot it up. Kleenex works really great for that because it's nice and absorbent. Right? And again, we're gonna do some more. And generally just around your circle area, but you're gonna have stuff that's flying all over the place, which is good because that's what we want, right? We want it to look very whimsical. We're gonna dip into our paint again, and we're gonna go up to this guy up here. Now I'm just doing it like this on an angle only because I'm trying to get you guys to see what I'm doing. If I was on a flat surface, I would just be doing this. Not too much water, but just enough water just to make your paint just a little bit more runny so that when you flick it, it flicks a little easier. And we're gonna flick, 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 flick away. There we go. I'm gonna grab a little paper towel. And like I said, if you get any little blobs, you can easily just pick those up, right? Don't worry about that, because the fact that what we're gonna do next is we're gonna make lots of big dots like that. So you just don't want them to be too watery, which is why I picked mine up. So again, I like lots of this. In some areas you can lay it on a little bit thicker or a little bit thinner. I just really love that whole, like having the spray lots of different areas like so. I think that's just so pretty. There we go. So that's basically what we got going on right now. Okay, so you've got like all of those lovely little splatters, couple little drips that we kind of blotted, and can't see. How's that look? Looking good? So it's getting there, guys. We're so close. Put that like that. How are you guys being able to see right now? Are you guys being able to see okay? Awesome. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna be grabbing our bundles of Q-tips, and we're gonna be dotting them in our paint like that. Okay, and then I like to just test my dots on my canvas to see what they're gonna turn out like when I hit the canvas. So, and then basically all we're gonna do is we're just gonna dot and blob like around the whole thing. Okay, so that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna do lots of these, guys. How's everybody following? And just like so. I want my poof to be just a little bit bigger than my chalk line. And you're gonna do this in a way where you still want to see a little bit of the black showing through, but you don't want it to be like crazy. So. Okay. That's kind of a nice shape. So easy peasy, guys. Honestly. So once you get the kind of general puff ball that you want, go on in the next one. I'm just gonna do that. And this is a great way to hide any of those little blobs that maybe happened. I like to go off onto the edge of my canvas, something I do all the time. On almost all of my paintings, actually. I don't know very many that I actually don't wrap around my canvas. Some artists, they'll paint the edges of their canvas, you know, whatever color they like. Like in this case, you would most likely do it either black. Yeah, you'd most likely do it black, but. And then, see how fast that is? Like we've got like 9 minutes left and we are almost complete. Like that's how easy this is. Okay, and now down to that other one that we just kind of generally roughed in. And we're still using the same one. I had you guys put together 2 of these just in case, you know, but you're really only gonna need the one. It's always nice to have a backup in case something happens. But look, there we go. Almost there. So the next thing we're gonna do, we are gonna grab our single. Dun, dun, dun. And on this one, this is like, you didn't have to, like I put out a ton of black. You don't really even need this much black. But we're just gonna pull out just a little bit of black and kind of put it on the side here. Okay, because we really don't need a ton of it. And we're gonna take our Q-tip that has black on it and we're gonna rub it a little bit, right? Because we want very, very little black. Then we're gonna dip it in the white. And then we're gonna test, okay? So we're gonna see, I've got a dot with a little tiny bit of black. Let me do that again for you. A dot with some black that's in it, right? So that's, you're only gonna pick up enough black where you get a little hint of it in there. And then you're just gonna go, you're just gonna create little tiny, this is almost like the centers of, you want them super tiny. That's why I put a little bit of black, but also a little bit of white on there as well, because I really don't want my entire tip of my, because otherwise you'll get like a really big black dot in the middle of this beautifulness. So then we're gonna do that. We're just gonna put our little dots in there. We're gonna make them very light. And that just kind of breaks up the white a little bit and shows that it has seeds. And I'm so faint with them. Like so. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm going to do all of our little puffs. Okay, I'm going to bring it a little closer just in case for those of you that are having a hard time seeing. So that's like that. Now we're going to take care of what's going on here. Okay, so what I do in that case, every painting can be different at this point. We are going to be grabbing our white again on our Q-tips again. Test your, in my opinion, those, I'm going to flip my size just because I think my Q-tips are getting a little bit mushed at the end and not creating nice fine dots. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of create like almost like the wind came along and swooshed this off. So I'm going to start creating a little bit of feathering this way. So it's almost kind of like so. And what ends up making this not feel like it's this triangle coming off is just a couple random ones elsewhere. And because there's a lot here and a couple blobs here, I'm just going to make those into part of that swoosh. And guys, this is looking fantastic. So go back to our little black and little tiny little dots, okay? Make sure that you got some white on there as well, just to kind of gray it up a little bit, so it's not too stark. And we're just gonna randomly put them in just to break up some of the white and make it look like seeds have flown away. It's harder to see this part, that's why I'll bring it a little bit closer to you. I think that might be what you guys are suggesting that you couldn't see. So I'll bring it a bit closer, like so. Just random little dots like that. And guys, you have finished painting and you have 4 minutes left. 26 minutes, start to finish, guys. You have finished a painting. Awesome, awesome job.